Good evening and welcome to True Dougman Encounters. I'm your host, Marvin Allen. If you or anybody that you've known have had a sighting and would like for me to share it on my channel, then please contact me. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't to my channel. We do have a Facebook channel that's called True Encounters with Marvin Allen and the Doug Pack. That's D-U-G Pack. If you haven't joined, please come over there and be a member. This is a group where everybody has a voice. Everybody can say what they want to say. You know, just because I made the channel, it doesn't make it mine. It's all of our channel. And be sure for the members, if you are part of the group, make sure you post in the group. You know, at least once a day. Stop by and say hello to everyone just to see how everybody doing. Trying to get more people to interact, you know, with it. So, like I said, just try to be more active if you're already a part of the group. We got a lot of things that's getting ready to happen. We have new encounters in the work. We have new eyewitnesses. As far as those eyewitnesses coming on and telling their story, their self, that'll be up to them. But 90-something% of my eyewitnesses wish for me to tell it because they like the way that I tell their encounters. So again, I don't mind doing it. So that's what I'm good at, and that's something I would love to keep doing. You know, I would love to keep telling eyewitnesses encounters. I really would. So be it if I have to do it. As far as other podcasts and other people out there that have their own shows, we not going out there and attacking no one. You know, we're going to keep what we do in our group, and whatever they doing in their group, we're going to keep it over there. We're not going to feed into the negativity no more, especially me, because I was the one that's doing it, because I was the one that was being attacked. But I won't do it no more. I'll leave it in, you know, a higher power. Leave it in God's hand. Leave it in the Lord's hand, you know, and let him deal with it. Because I know what I do is I do it for the people out there. I bring them these other people encounters so they can learn more about these creatures and what these people went through. Because everybody is not going to see these creatures. And that's just the truth. Unless they just start walking up and down everybody's block. Which I don't think that will happen. But everybody not going to see these creatures. So if you see them, just take it as a blessing. You know, but a lot of times, they see you when you don't see them. They are out there. Now, I have been telling encounters and episodes about a young girl named Tajay. And like I said, her story is amazing. Her story is wonderful, you know. And the things that she went through. How she bonded with these creatures. How she bonded with this pack of whatever you want to call them. You want to call them animals, whatever. But they are part animal and part human. So they are a type of people. Just a different type than we are. Because they are intelligent. Even when you look into these creatures' eyes, you see some type of intelligence. You see some type of intelligence. To know that they are smart. That's why they call them masters of the woods. Masters of the tree line. Because that's their home. That's their backyard. They know it better than we do. And we quick to say, oh man, they on my property. Man, the thing was there before you was there. It's just simple as that, point blank. They've been here before we bought these properties. That was their home. So we forced them to move further out, to keep coming on our property. We did that. And by chopping down these trees, man, it's taken away from their habitat. So it's causing them to go other places. But like I said, though, we can start doing a lot of good stuff. This year gonna be our year. It might take a few more months, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna definitely get there, man, because I love each and every one of y'all. I love y'all, man. Y'all my family. Y'all are my extended family. Especially for the ones that's been there for me even when I was going through rough times. Y'all never left. Y'all never looked at me as a bad person. Y'all never did that. And I have the utmost respect for each and every one of y'all. So we're going to stop talking about this and we're going to get ready to get into Ty J's encounter. So as y'all know, anonymity means a lot to me. So without further ado, let's jump right into this encounter. As y'all know, the mother friends, they started licking off. Bop, 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 bop. They just started shooting. These things running. They running. They stopped firing. All they hear is boom, black, crack. Stuff just running through the tree line. Now mind you, they didn't go out and try to track these creatures that night. They went in, told the grandmother and Ty J what happened. And you know, Ty J said, I heard all those gunshots. Did you hit it? Did you hit it? Did you hit it? They say, we don't know, but we're gonna go out there and check them all. So next day come. It gets up early. They goes out. And it goes out to track these creatures. They gets to the tree line and they starts to walk. They said when they get about 40 to 50 feet in, they started to see blood droplets. Blah, blah. They could see where it dropped at. So they followed these blood droplets and they keep following. They would stop and then they would start back up again. They would stop and they would start back up again. Now mind you, this was thick where they was going at. It was thick in there. So they could see a trail that these creatures made. But as they both walking, they noticed that the trail started to move. It switched. One kept going one way and then other one made another trail. And you could see it clearly. You could see where this creature made this path at. So his partner follows that trail. They keep walking, they walking. Now the guy who followed the trail with the blood, it did it again. The blood stopped. But he kept walking, following this trail. He kept following the trail, but it's no blood. Then the trail just stopped cold. He didn't know which way this creature went. He said, but the one thing he didn't bother to do was to look up. And he didn't look up. He calls his partner on the phone. He tells them, man, I lost the trail to this. The blood and everything stopped. He said, same thing over here. So he said, I'm going to meet you back. So they leave. They goes and make it back to the house. They tell the grandmother, they tell Ty J everything that happened. You know, he said, but we know we hit one of these creatures. We know that for a fact. So the grandmother said, so as y'all stand here another night, said, no, I got a phone call and I got to go take care of something else. But I will be back out here most likely next week. So they said their goodbyes. The two guys, they left and they went on their way. Tajay and her grandmother still sitting in the house and they talking. So Tajay said, Grandma, they shot this creature again. Not knowing if it's the same one, it could have been the other one. And I know these creatures is really mad. I know they is. Every time I look at this thing, I can see nothing but evil in his eyes. So Tajay started crying. And her grandmother, she consoled her, told her everything gonna be alright. Later on that afternoon, Tajay went outside. She went outside and she walked down the back steps. And she continued to walk over to that tree line. She said she don't know what drew her over there, but she walked over to that tree line to see if she could get that feeling, to see if she could know that these creatures was around. So she gets over there. She stands outside of the tree line and she looks in, waiting to get that feeling. But she don't. What she get and what she hear is she hear heavy footsteps coming from her left of where this gray and brown creature comes in at. She can hear it, and it's getting louder and it's getting closer. So she look. When she look, she see this creature peeps around the brush that comes out of the tree line. She see this thing peeps from around the brush that leads out of the tree line. And she noticed it's the brown one. She say this thing look right down at her. And she looks at it. Tajay said that's when she began to walk backwards across her grandmother's property. And she say she taking slow steps. As she walking, she's starting to see more of this creature. She's starting to see more of his body parts. So she walking backwards. She said that's when this creature steps out from behind that brush. And it steps on the property of the grandmother. Tajay said she stops. And she watches this creature, and this creature watches her. Now she's scared. Now she's terrified. Now she says she doesn't know what to do. She's scared to yell out to her grandmother. She doesn't have a weapon. And she hasn't gotten that feeling that she gets when these black creatures are around. So she's staying there, looking at this creature. And she said this creature was massive too. Wasn't larger and bigger than the gray one, but it was still huge. She looks at this creature and this creature looks at her. She said that's when this thing showed her its teeth. And she said they was massive. Upper and bottom canines. She said to her, it looked like all of them had a point. in this thing mouth. So this thing watching her, and it's showing her its teeth. She said that's when this creature starts to take a few more steps. Boom. 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 And she said it was heavy. And she said the strides on this thing was just incredible. And it stopped. When it stopped, it made this low growl. She said it made a low growl that shook her, that she felt inside of her. She could feel this powerful growl. Even though it was low, she still could feel it. She said when this thing stopped growling, it just stared at her. It just looked at her. She said she think that this thing was trying to lock eyes with her. And I always told Tajay, don't get fixated on their eyes, because I have heard and talked to people who have looked in these things' eyes, and it's like their eyes put them in a trance, like they couldn't move, like they couldn't hear nothing. So she said she didn't focus on this thing's eyes, because she remembered those words that I told her. So she would look and then look down. She would look and look down, but she kept her eye on this thing. She said that's when she mustered up the strength and courage and starts to walk back again, because she said she wasn't that far from the back door. So she starts to walk again. She walking, but this thing ain't moving. It's just standing there. She says she gets to the bottom of her grandmother back steps. She said that's when this creature, she said she never heard this sound in her life. She said this thing made some type of noise. She said this thing made some type of noise, but she don't know what. It wasn't a howl. It wasn't a growl. It wasn't nothing that she heard before from these animals or any other animal. But it made this sound. And when it made this sound, it stopped. And when it did that, she can hear the heavy running coming from the tree line. And it's the gray one. And it walks straight out the tree line. She said she noticed something different about this creature as it starts to walk over there to where this brown Doug man is. She said it stops about 5 feet behind it, but it was off to his right. She says she looked and she noticed something different about this creature. She said near the near the shoulder, but down, going towards the chest, she can see what looks like to her to be blood. And she say she looking good. She say she can see what looks like to her to be blood, but dried up. So she's saying in her mind, okay, they hit it. But this thing, she said, didn't look like it was hurt. This thing was still moving its arm. She said this creature, it was like it didn't even get shot. She said, but she know this is blood. And I kept drilling her on that and drilling on that. You sure? She said, I'm telling you, it was blood. She said, so they standing there. She starts to walk up the steps backwards. She gets to the top. Walks backwards over to the door. She feels her way. Open the little screen door. And then she opens the back door. And she just stand there and she watches them. She said that's when this brown creature just took off fast. And it stopped. She said this thing stopped on a dime. So I told her that was a bluff charge. It started running like it was going to just run right up on your steps. But that was a bluff charge, Tajay. It wanted you to think that it was going to keep going. She said after it did that bluff charge, bam, she slammed the door, locked everything. She looked out that little window. She said after a few more seconds, about 30, 40 more seconds, these creatures turned and they walked. And they went back up into the tree line. She said days had passed. Nothing would happen. Howls here and there. Growls around the house. Footsteps on top of the roof. Then she said like on the 5th day, she leaves from off the back porch. Because mind you, now it's getting dark. And when she starts walking towards her back, bang, she gets that feeling. She gets that feeling that one of these creatures is around. She turns around quick, shoots to that back door. Opens it up, she stands out there and she looks. She gazes up in the tree line. And she looking. Then she can see this dark silhouette, this dark figure start walking out. And she could see the eye shine. But it wasn't bright. So she knew that this was the alpha male. She said it started to walk across the property. Slow. And she said real slow. And she said when it finally got about 10 feet from the bottom steps, it stopped. And she walked. She started to go down the steps, but she stopped on the second step that she walked down, and she just looked over at it. She said it was so fragile. She said it was so fragile. Like a dog just didn't eat in months. And she watching this creature that she had gotten so close to and couldn't believe what she was seeing. She said, that's when this creature spoke to her again. And these are the words that Tajay said, this alpha male said to her. She said, this alpha said, it's almost time, but you'll be okay. Tajay said she heard those words clear as day. It's almost time, but you'll be okay. That's when Tajay said that this might be the last day that she see this alpha. And she said she just stood there looking at him, tears in her eyes, because she had bonded with these creatures. She said it's just looking at her, and it's like he couldn't even really stand up. She said, so after about almost a minute, it went down to all fours, and then it laid down. And when it laid down, she said it started licking its hand. The hand that was wounded. The hand that this great creature attacked. She said she knew it was infected. She said it just kept licking it. She said it just kept licking that hand. She said then it stood up on all fours. And before it turned, it looked at Tajay again. And she said it looked like this alpha smiled at her. That's what she said. That's what she relayed to me. She said it looked like this alpha smiled at her, and it turned and it walked back up into the tree line and was gone. She stood there for about 15 more minutes crying her heart out, and then went in the house. She sat in her room, and she said she cried almost all night. She cried until she went to sleep. She gets up the next day, sat up on the bed, and then just lay back down. Grandmother come in there and say, why you not up yet? Say, Ma, I just don't feel like getting up, Grandma. I'm not up for it. And her grandmother knew what was wrong with her. So she didn't go into it. She just let her just lay there. Now, I'ma stop there, and I'ma upload this, and I'ma get y'all ready for the next true encounter.